88-81, Colorado wins a nail-biter here at the Coors Event Center. This is the post-game wrap-up brought to you by the Blake Street Tavern. Ryan, a very strange basketball game. This was not a typical Tad Boyle coach team out here tonight. They let Washington State shoot over 50% and out-rebound them. Somehow, some way, they find a way in double overtime to beat the Cougars.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the game and they from almost start to finish, despite a couple runs, they played really bad basketball. They did not play the way that they are coached to play. But the one thing they did, and Xavier Talton said this after the game, they took care of the ball. They only had 8 turnovers in 50 minutes of gameplay, and they made plays at the right time. They go down and they're down 3, and you get one chance, and George King makes the shot to hit it, and then kind of they revitalize the team. And from then on out, you kind of could tell that they were going to win it. And in the second overtime period, they really made big rebounds, big free throws, and like XT said, just made big plays at big times.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you scale out the difficulty of that George King shot on a scale of 1 to 10. It's got to be about a 9. He's fading away over a big, and as he said, Hawkinson basically shook hands with him after the shot, so he was playing good defense on that play. If that shot doesn't go in, we're all talking about the block call on Torrey Miller that it looked like one referee had initially called it a charge, and of course sent this Coors Event Center crowd into a ruckus there before the big shot. As Tad Boyle says, any win in February, especially down, as he said, basically a starter and a half with Trey Fletcher also banged up, you're going to take it. But it was, I mean, they basically stared defeat in the eyes in this game.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, is I said this with a minute and a half left in the game to Ted of the Ralphie Report, who's sitting next to me. I said a minute and a half is going to determine whether this is an absolutely terrible loss, the one bad loss that was left on the schedule, they took it, or it's just another win. And in the scheme of things, all you see on that schedule is a green W now, instead of a really, really thick, bold red L. And that's what matters.
Do you think if they lose this game, this is maybe arguably one of the worst losses of the Tad Boyle era? I think it would be up there.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, I remember they lost the game to Stanford they shouldn't have when Stanford was in a down year in here one year. They've, of course, taken some in the non-conference that they shouldn't have, but this team should not lose a game like that, even without Josh Scott. And I feel like we overlook that a lot. We haven't even talked about it yet, yeah. The fact that Josh Scott wasn't in there. And that obviously plays a role. I mean, you don't have your leader, your core, your go-to guy in there, but you still have to win. I mean, you're the more talented team. You're in your home building, and they found a way to. I don't know how, but they did. Washington
State has now lost 10 games in a row. Yeah, it was guys stepping up. Wes Gordon, a double-double. Xavier Talton, one of his better games as a buff, he made some clutch free throws down the stretch, made some big plus plays. Thomas Akizili, a career-high 10 points, played some pretty good defense. Basically, they got just enough in this game. And as Tad Boyle said, though, if they play like this on Saturday with a quick turnaround, they're going to lose that game against Washington. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I don't expect them to, though. It's kind of one of those things. They caught themselves. They slept on the opponent a little bit. They're not going to play like that. Maybe they get Josh back. I mean, he's moving around a little bit. It's not like he's on crutches or anything. There's a chance they get him. But they definitely have to play better. Going back real quick to George King's shot, the cool thing for him, and I even asked about it in the post game, is he really practices those. I mean, he sits out here every day catching passes from the trainers or from the managers, and off balance, one step, fading away. He practices those shots, and whether it's because he sees the pros hitting those shots to hit game winners or whatever, he really works on those. So it's cool for him to kind of make that shot. And like he said, he didn't outlet the ball, which he was supposed to, and he probably would have been in trouble if that ball didn't go in.
First buzzer beater for him since 7th grade. That's a pretty big deal for George King. Well, again, quick turnaround. Basically, Pat Boyle says they're not going to do anything on Friday. Washington already played on Wednesday night, so they've already in Colorado, kind of waiting. I bet they enjoyed watching this game go to double overtime.
Yeah, seriously. You got any buzzer beaters on your resume?
Not anything like George King hit out here today. Maybe in my backyard, maybe I had something similar to that. All right, well, signing off from the Coors Event Center.